Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brad here, and Rip's over there, and you're probably wondering what is going on here. We're trying something a little different here, and we're doing like a YouTube exclusive. So we're going to talk a little bit about baseball, just a little bit, leave it about 10, 15 minutes long. I'm not going to do a whole episode. Rip, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. I am actually, obviously, you can see I'm in my car. I'm at home in my office. My wife has sent me on a return Christmas duty. So now, I am out returning Christmas gifts that I got suckered into. So I'm doing the grunt work. So,
oh boy, if somebody got something they didn't want.
Yeah, and so I'm doing this because if my wife goes and tries to return it, she might get suckered into actually getting something else because she feels bad. So I'm doing the dirty work, I'll be honest, but hey, I don't mind doing it. It's
well, I appreciate you coming on for the few moments that we got you.
Absolutely.
So we had talked a little bit before doing something like this. I hate that, and I have to figure that out. So today we've got some news. Yesterday we had some news. Let's talk a little bit about that. The passing of the Dodger legend, Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, it was kind of a shock, to be honest, because we all heard that he was having some health issues prior to Christmas, and then we heard that he got out of the hospital and was doing great, and then the next thing we know that he has passed at 93, I think.
Yeah, it was 93 years old.
It's not the baseball world. Probably, man, when we talk about Tommy Lasorda, we often see that video of him fighting the Philly Fanatic back in the early 90s, maybe early 80s. I don't remember when it was, but that was such a funny video that, he was always such a staple within the Dodger organization, and he always bled blue no matter how long he was going to be there or for how long he was going to manage. And, he was great. He was great for baseball, even after he retired. And to hear that he passed, it's such a tragedy, especially starting 2021 off, with the passing of another legend.
Yeah, it's off to a bad start, and it's really not looking good for 2021, especially with what's going on in baseball. I hope that we cut the crap when it comes to the legends who passed last year. We lost way too many.
Right.
We've already started the year off with Tommy Lasorda, and I don't know much about Tommy, but there are a few things. I mentioned one before we started recording. I'll mention it to everybody else. I've always kind of pictured him kind of like Rodney Dangerfield or a lookalike. In no way do I mean that in disrespect, but that's how I remember him. I also know that Tommy was one of the guys that he was the guy that came up with the term Dodger Blue or bleed Dodger Blue. So that in itself is like kind of historical, and that just shows you what he meant to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So from both Rip and myself from the Rip Griffin Show, we want to send our condolences and, may you rest in peace.
Absolutely. And one of the things I heard that was really interesting about Lasorda is that he never took a multi-year deal with the Dodgers. He was always on a one-year contract. And he did that because he wanted to prove to himself that he could do this, manage basically, at the level that he needed to be with the Dodgers. So he never took an extension. He always did a one-year contract. That was one of the things I found very interesting of Lasorda, because we never hear how much a manager's contract is for and how long and whatnot. That's usually behind the scenes between the front office and the organization. But to hear that was really interesting because he bet on himself every season. And of course, it showed. He was always the manager that was, in touch with the game, in touch with his players. So very interesting to hear something like that out of Lasorda.
Yeah, and like I said, may he rest in peace. And
Absolutely.
so moving on, we have some news today. We had a couple things come out. Kyle Schwarber signed with the Washington Nationals, which I feel like came out of left field. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the need for Kyle Schwarber on the Washington Nationals, but I saw the news say that he signed for $10 million for a 1-year contract, and then later on, I saw a tweet that said that he actually signed for $7 million with a $3 million dollar buyout and an option for $11 million or something like that with 2022.
Okay.
So what do you think about that? Like, was that like weird for you to see Kyle Schwarber signing with the Washington Nationals?
It really was, considering that they really didn't feel the need for an outfield, at least in my opinion. A total of $10 million for 1 year seems a little bit much, especially for a batter that can sometimes be relevant in the lineup. Sometimes he can. It's like a light switch. Once you turn it on, he'll produce, and then it goes back off, and he's in a drought for 20 or 30 at bats. But $10 million for 1 year for a left fielder, I don't agree with it. I think they could have done better with less money, because there's
I
probably
think they offered too much.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And maybe they're just trying to fill the position. I don't know. But $10 million for 1 year for a left fielder that can be productive at sometimes. I think you maybe spent some time on the IL as well. Doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I don't necessarily agree with that signing with the Nationals.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of came out of left field, and the pun was not intended there.
Literally.
But I don't like the signing.
But yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like you said, they could have done better. I feel like they overpaid. So there's really not much to talk about with Schwarber. The other thing is like, did they make a move just because the Mets made a move? You have to question that. Right. So now there was other news today that came out just a few moments ago, actually. The Padres are in talks with Fernando Tatis Jr., and they're talking about possibly extending him for 11 years, and I believe it's at $320 million. And you made the tweet that, is Machado going to be pissed because Tatis Jr. is going to be making $20 million more? I'm going to just answer that question straight up. No, he shouldn't be pissed because he'll be playing one more extra year than Machado's contract.
Right.
But I'm going to start this one off. I didn't see this as a surprise. I'm glad that they're in talks about getting ready to talk to Tatis Jr. and sign him to a $320 million contract. And it's exciting because the Padres really haven't been all that relevant in like the past couple of years, and now they're making moves. How do you feel about it?
It's great. Padres fans and Padre Nation, they've been in a playoff and postseason drought. I mean, other than 2020, I think the last time was 2006, maybe 2007. But they need to become relevant again. And the Padres have sat back and they've waited. They've built up their farm system, a top 5 farm system. They've got the prospects, and they've just been patient. And I think a lot of Padres fans were getting upset, especially a few years ago when they weren't making any type of sudden moves or high impact moves. And then the Machado signing a couple years ago, that kind of just took everything off. And it was one of those things, where one piece at a time. They didn't put everything into all their eggs into one basket. They put brought in Machado, and now we're starting to see more and more of the signings, the trades, getting key players. So the Padres are getting primed for a deep postseason push to compete with the Dodgers, who have been so dominant in the West over the past 8, 9, 10 seasons. So
Yeah.
Hey, Padres are out to win it. They're gonna start making some noise here pretty soon.
Yeah, they're definitely in it to win it now. I mean, they did the Blake Snell. Actually, let's start off with they did the Machado trade.
Right.
They ended up getting or Machado signing. Sorry, they did the Blake Snell and Hugh Darvish trade. They signed the Young Kim, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but they signed the South Korean kid. And now they're talking about possibly going and signing Fernando Tatis Jr. to an 11-year contract or extension. And it's just like, man, all this stuff is happening in the National League. What's going on? The American League needs to do something here. I know your team's in the American League. We know my team's in the American League. I don't expect my team to be doing anything spectacular this offseason. But, man, am I excited for what's going on in baseball right now. There's hot stove takes. And you got Lindor and you've got Schwarber, who I don't think that was a real big move. I just think that was a move to do something.
Yeah.
But there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think out of everything that happened, I think the under the radar trade was the Carrasco to the Mets. So, do you have anything else that you would like to add?
Man, you know what? We're starting to get to see some activity finally after a couple months of none. It's been kind of so it's the news is quiet, and now we're starting to see stuff where we're 38 days before pitchers and catchers report. So a lot of things are starting to take place. We still have some key free agents, mainly George Springer, Trevor Bauer, JT Realmuto, that are still out there yet to be signed. Maybe we'll see something coming in the coming weeks. Hopefully not before spring training or during spring training. I would like to see these guys get into camp on time and start getting ready for the 2021 season.
Yeah, it's a real pain in the neck when a player is not ready to start playing right away after signing a contract. I know the Red Sox had to deal with that in 2018 with JD Martinez. It was literally days before spring training started. Pitchers and catchers already showed up. Players started showing up, and then he got signed. And I don't want to see that happening.
Right.
You also got to remember there's a showing on, I believe it's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday for Corey Kluber. And a few teams are going to be down there paying attention to that. The Boston Red Sox are one of those teams. I believe
I think the Mets are going to be down there as well.
I believe they are too. Did I see the Astros?
I haven't heard anything as far as the Astros going down there. I mean, it's possible. I mean,
I know there was another team. I know it was the Red Sox, Mets, and there was another team. I'm not 100% sure there, but I thought it was another American League team. Now, also, before we do end up going, I got one question for you.
Sure.
Do you find it a little weird that the Washington Nationals signed Schwarber, who would have done better as an American League DH?
I do, because from what we've heard, the DH will not be in the National League in 2021. And I think Manfred's making a big mistake on that because a lot of these guys like Schwarber, Marcell Ozuna, for another example, some of these National League guys would thrive in the American League or even in the National League with the DH. So that the national signing of Schwarber still doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe the DH will come to the National League, and maybe that's what they're hoping. But it's weird that they went out and got this guy for that amount of money. You know, we'll see how it plays out. I don't see it actually working. I actually see them maybe probably releasing him during spring training, which I hate to say, but if you don't have a need for an outfielder / designated hitter, which primarily is probably what he would be more used for, I see him being released and maybe going to an American League team probably sometime mid-season.
Yeah, so I did another interview earlier today, and we were talking about the same one and same subject with Kyle Schwarber, and Schwarber signing with the Nationals and their roster. I believe their left fielder had like 200 at bats, and that makes me think that it's that the left fielder that they have currently is a rookie. And if that's the case, then Kyle Schwarber is definitely going to have left field.
Right.
Or they're going to platoon left field, something like that.
Yeah, that makes more sense if that's the route they're wanting to go. But $10 million, man, that's just...
Yeah, I think that's a little too much.
Especially in this market with the way 2020 went down as far as revenue. I still disagree with it, but like I've said before, we're not in the front office, but they know more than we do.
Yep, that's why they make the big bucks, and we just report on it.
Absolutely.
So, Rip, thank you so much for coming on in such a short notice and talk a little bit of baseball and what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure to tune in to our show. It will be this Tuesday, actually. We are going to be speaking with our special guest, Emily Nyman, who is the host of Breaking Ball podcast. We will be talking about the New York Yankees. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're not going to want to miss this.
Absolutely.
So, Rip, I will see you on Tuesday. Everybody else, talk to you then.
Appreciate it.